Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mary D Show. My name is Mary D. Welch. I am your host of the Mary D Show. I am always glad to be here on a Monday, and this is another beautiful Monday, ladies and gentlemen. I say that every Monday because they are beautiful, and I'm always honored to be here too. Before I get started today, I'm going to say this. I'm going to do a shout out. Now, I've never done that before, so I'm really excited about this because this is a shout out to a school. This is actually to a teacher. Her name is Mrs. Leslie Stokes. Hi, Leslie. And this is my cousin, and I'm very, very proud of her. And she is a teacher in Marks, Mississippi. And her school, she's at Madison Palmer High School. And I like to tell you, and Leslie is she's in the visual arts class. And the principal of the school is Mr. Walter Atkins. And the assistant principal is Mr. John Jossel. I like to tell you that I'm so honored to be able to do a shout out and tell all of you, hi, everybody. This is coming from Southern California. And we want to tell you, hello, we love you. And we're so proud. And we're just really, really proud of Leslie. I mean, students, you are really honored to have you as your teacher. So God bless each and every one of you. And you have a wonderful day. So that's my first shout out. So you guys be the first ones. Now, I like to also go into our show because we have sponsors and we have other, just things we want to go over with you guys before we introduce to you this really, really special guest that we have for you today. So first, I like to thank our replay viewers. Replay viewers, I mean this. You mean a lot because many people can't watch us live, but you come on later, you watch the show, you make comments, you go to YouTube, you subscribe. Thank you, replay viewers. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'd like to also thank all of you that are watching live that go to YouTube and subscribe. All those subscriptions really, really mean a lot because YouTube is looking at that. They want to know, do people watch the show? And that's how they can tell. And you're notified every time we go live. So that makes a difference. Just go to YouTube and hit subscribe. It really makes a difference. We have new sponsors. One of our new sponsors is the Sutton Insurance Services.com. Sutton Insurance Services, SBCS.com. Sutton Insurance. There's a new sponsor for home, for life, and for auto insurance called Sutton. That's one of the new sponsors. Another sponsor, First Book Academy. If you like to learn how to write your first book, go to First Book Academy. You can sign up. There'll be workshops coming in the next few weeks. You can go in and sign up. HendersonRealEstateTeam.info. HendersonRealEstateTeam.info. And they are the real estate team. It's a husband and wife team. They're both educators. And I can tell you, dynamite couple. If you're looking to buy a home or sell a home, contact the Henderson Real Estate Team.info. Next, if you are looking to start a nonprofit or an LLC, which is Limited Liability Corporation, or if you're interested in starting an S Corp or C Corp, you want to go to the Idea Club. The Idea Club, the president of the Idea Club is Dumas Martin. You can go to theideaclub.com, theideaclub.com, Dumas Martin. If you're looking for travel insurance, if you're traveling, everybody traveling should have travel insurance. Do you see all these flights canceled? You must have travel insurance. It's pennies compared to what you get if they cancel your flight or change your flight, any of those things. Travel insurance. Go to firstfridaystravel.com and get your travel insurance. Firstfridaystravel.com and get your travel insurance. Also, if you like to join our email list, many of you may not be on the email list. There's emails that go out all the time, ladies and gentlemen. You get really a wealth of knowledge. I sent an email out earlier, a couple of days ago, about Kwanzaa. And some of you may not know the history or know about it, but you would have received that email. Just go to marydwelch.com to receive that email. You can also receive a text. The text, you can go to 474747. That's the short code. And you put the word show, and you will be receiving a text message. Now, I've had people ask me, how do you become a guest on the show? And what do I need to do to be a sponsor? Let me tell you, you call this number. Real simple. You call area code 619-669-6669. 8603, 619 669 8603. And you can become a sponsor for the show, or you can become, if you're interested in becoming a special guest for the show, either one of those, one of my assistants can help you if you call there. Yes. Now, I can tell you, we have with us today, ladies and gentlemen, this wonderful, wonderful guest. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I just call him Dr. Akalana because that's the easiest for me. But he went over how to pronounce the name. But I'm going to let him say it for you. But he has been in educational administration for almost 30 years. Think about this. I think it's like 27, 28, something like that. He holds a doctorate in religious studies with a focus in marriage, family, and life ministerial counseling. A soon-to-be author with the book coming out in the summer of 2022 titled Sozo Life, The Journey of Healing Through the Valley of Forgiveness. Whoa. He's been married for 24 years to his lovely wife, Danielle, and they are the proud parents of 3 wonderful boys. He is also a member of the International Fraternal Organization of Omega Psi Phi for over 34 years. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you the one and only, I'm going to call Dr. Akalana, but how do you pronounce your last name?
It is Akinlana Osonduagwaika.
Osonduagwaika. I'm getting there little by little, but I just call you Dr. Akalana.
Yes, I like Doc Ock too. That's good.
That's see. Welcome to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, I can tell you, I just read over, and I know what I read was just the tip of the iceberg of who you really are. But before I even get into you, we have comments coming in already. We have people saying, this is Charles. He says, good afternoon, Mary and your guest. Thank you, Charles. We have somebody I think you know, Danielle. Hi, hey. Danielle. She's already, I know that's right. You supporting your husband. Then we have Sheila. Hi, Sheila. Sheila says, hi, Mary, and your guest, CJ. I know. Thank you, Sheila. And then we have our executive producers making a comment, and that's Oliver. He says, what did he say? Hi, the lightning is very, I guess he said, I know he's talking about the lights, I think. I don't know. But anyway, it's very good. But Daniel's, that's nice of you, Danielle. Blessings to you, too. Now, I'm going to tell you, they're coming in so fast, I can't keep up. Akalana haven't even said anything. So that's telling you how many people really are watching and care about you being on the show. Hello, Dr. O. This is Lori Nessie.
Mm-hmm.
Nessie. Hi, Lori. Hi, Lori. And this is, I think this was, is it Jose?
Jose Mency.
Hi, Jose. I think you have your supporters.
Let's go.
They're all here. Okay, now, why don't you tell us about you?
Where shall I begin?
You can start born. You can go all the way back to where you were born, and you can go there. That's fine.
I am the youngest child of 6, born to an immigrant parent from Guyana, South America, born to Agatha Tony. I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters. One of my sisters has passed. And she's gone on during, in fact, this time of COVID, this COVID season. It wasn't due to COVID, but she passed during this season. And so I was the youngest of 6. I was born in Los Angeles and raised in Pasadena. I was, as I said, the last of 6. I was born into a precarious situation where my upbringing and background in the family was charged with my brothers who were brought into the country shortly after I was born, my brothers and sisters. They're born of a different father. And so that kind of helped to kind of drive me. I was the last of 6. I kind of got to live through all of their experiences. I got to live through all of their pitfalls, and they really helped to shape and frame me into the person that I am today. And so I find their life experiences invaluable in me being able to learn from their mistakes and not have to be able to make some of my own at that expense. My mother never made more than $12,000 a year, and yet I make 10 times that amount of money. And so it's all a testimony to her perseverance and her struggle and her persistence to make me be successful. And I thank her to this day for everything that she poured into me.
Oh, is she living?
She is not. She went on to be with the Lord in 1999 due to colon cancer.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry to hear. I'm so sorry about your sister
Oh,
also.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I know we've had losses too. Really, none have been due to COVID, but it's during the COVID season that
Yes.
we've lost people. So unfortunately, and it sounds like your upbringing, was your mother just very strong on education?
Very much so. So she had all of a fourth grade education. So she insisted that I be successful and make sure that I stayed focused in school.
Hmm.
Partying, as a thing of high school days never happened. So it was go to school, stay in the books. And for me, I was the type of student, I've always loved school. And, so much so that I stayed in it my entire life, went from school back into school and then taught school. So my whole life has been consumed with education and I love every moment of it. um,
Hmm.
that experience that she poured into me, it just really helped me create a discipline and a drive to be able to be educated to change the and impact the lives of the people that I came in contact with. That's been my journey throughout my life.
All right, because I know we met through Rialto Unified,
Yes.
and I was teaching. I think I was at Eisenhower when we met. I think so because I ended up going to. I started out at Cobe and went to Eisenhower, then went to Carter High School. But
We crossed paths at Carter because I did a year at Carter. I
oh,
did
was
a
it?
subsequent year at Rialto High School, and then years after that at Frisbee.
Maybe that's what it was. Okay, it could
Mhm.
be. It definitely could be. But I know when I met you, you were already in administration. That
Yes.
was where you went. So I know with your background, like we found out earlier that we're both UC Riverside graduates.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That was so
So
I never knew that. You
yeah, absolutely. Was from Pasadena, went to UC Riverside, graduated from there, went to Cal State San Bernardino to get my credential and my master's in educational administration.
I'm gonna tell you, we followed a very similar path. The difference is my teaching credential is from Cal State San Bernardino, but my master's is from Azusa Pacific.
Uh,
We went there, but yeah, it's just but very similar, which I never knew.
mhm, mhm.
The same kind of path. Well, I know too. You and your wife also have 3 sons. Do we want to give them a shout out?
Absolutely. My eldest, Kamau, is 21. He attends Texas Southern University. He's home for the holiday season. My middle son, Amari, who's 19, attends Cal Baptist University. And then my youngest son, Kuzari, attends Etowanda High School, and he's in his senior year, getting ready to be shipped off somewhere. We don't know yet, but he's leaving.
That's a blessing. I understand what you said. But then again, when you have two older brothers that are away at college, he's got, kind of that college experience in him by what they're
Yes,
doing. Yeah,
yes,
that has a lot to do with it.
yes,
But
yes, yes.
the last year is really exciting, though, to me. That senior year is just full of energy, and they're excited, you're excited, that kind of thing. Well, let me ask you, what was it about education um, that attracted you to? Because everybody doesn't, even though you have the degrees, everybody doesn't go through the educational system.
So that's a very interesting story. Having come up in Pasadena during the 70s, in the age of desegregation, uh, I was probably entering the school era about 74, 75, in that era,
Hmm.
about there. And all throughout my entire K-12 experience, I had two African American teachers, my entire K-12 experience. In
Right.
my preschool, Miss Lewis was my, I guess, preschool principal. And later in high school, I had her son as an English teacher in high school.
Hmm.
And then I had Miss Hammond as a math teacher at high school as well. But that elementary, middle school, I had no African American teacher exposure. And so
Oh,
by the time I got to college, that kind of impacted my trajectory of being able to see someone that looked like me be able to get into education and impact and help change the lives of students that would be coming after me.
wow. I think that I'm just thinking back of my own education, and mine was my first African American teacher was in elementary school in the fourth grade, and I'll never forget that. I watched, I think, everything she did because I'd never seen it. It was almost like seeing an alien or something in
Mhm.
education. But then I didn't have any more until high school. And that's where I end up. In fact, I'm still in contact with a couple of my high school teachers after all these years. That's how much they've impacted my life.
Yes, yes.
So you already know your position. Just us being there is so. Um, what can I say? We are affecting kids whether we know it or not, whether we admit it or not. Just our presence in a classroom, and that does not have to just not. It's not just the Black kids. All kids are affected by us being there
Yes.
because they know we have to pass certain tests to get qualified. I don't know about your kids.
Yes.
When I was teaching, they didn't say they were testing me. Nobody ever said that, but I knew when they were testing me. I knew when they were asking me questions to see if I knew because I was a history teacher, and inside I was laughing, and they would ask me just certain things off the cuff, and I knew the answers, and they're like,
Yes.
you could see them like, oh, I guess she does know.
Right. She's up on it.
Oh yes, you have to be. As you know, you have to be. There is no gray area. But I'm going to take a moment right now and pause because we have some more comments coming in. I want to make sure we do because we have a group that I cannot tell you. They are fans of this show, and I can't thank them enough. And we at first Oliver made his comment, and then we have Vandy. Thank you, Oliver, for the lighting. Then we have Vandy, sister. I don't know what that means. Vandy, you have to help me with that. And then we have Kim Foster Moore. She said, hello, Dr. O. And then we have Elaine Wilson. Elaine says, hello, Mary and Dr. O, and this beautiful wife, Danielle. This is Elaine Wilson, retired Rialto Unified School District. So happy to be here for your interview. Thank you. Now, Elaine is a fan. Elaine's here every Monday.
That's right.
I tell you, there's some people I think the show does not go on unless they're here. And Elaine is one of those people. So thank you, Elaine. And I'm going to do a roll call really quickly of the people that made comments. And that's Charles, Danielle, which is Dr. O's wife, Sheila Harmon, Oliver, Lori, Jose, the Motley Method. Blessings. The Motley Method says hi. You know who the Motley Method is?
I do. Mr. Carrington Motley. Yes.
All right. Vandy Tazo, I can't pronounce. I think that's right. And Kim Foster Morris and Elaine Wilson. And then we have New Light Christian Church of Fontana. They said, let me put that in the chat. You can see it. And it says, my brother, Dr. O, is the best. He's one of the greatest educational advocates, leaders, and he's extremely compassionate. He leads from the faith and is a proven servant leader. Whoa.
That's my brother right there. I must give a shout out to Sam Casey and Tamika Casey, who are my brother and sister in Christ. And we share children. We share life together. He's an amazing leader. Please check out his church as well.
All right. The Christian Church of Fontana. New Life Christian Church.
New Life.
New Life. Okay.
Say it like you banging it. New Life.
Okay. And then Danielle said, hi, beautiful Miss Elaine. Oh. Then we also have Thomas Ward. Thomas Ward has a comment. We love you, Dr. O, with the big crowd voice and with applauses. Oh, I tell you, you got your fan club.
Yes. That's what we're doing this for, so we can actually get the word out. We have to get the message out.
Well, as I said before, we are both leaders in education. I say that but you've been in education administration. That's been your, where you've been excelling. So what advice would you give someone that is because what we're fighting is, I don't have to tell you, is that a lot of African-American men don't go into education. Mm-hmm. The numbers have decreased instead of increased. How can we encourage more men to go into this educational field?
Ooh, that's a hard one. And my answers won't usually fit the normal paradigm. Okay. When I came into education, I came in to elementary education. I did 13 years in the K-6 model, and then went into middle school administration, high school assistant principalship, middle school principalship, and middle school assistant principalship over that 28-year span. And we walk on eggshells as African-American administrators, male or female. The eggshells is just the idea that when we come in, we want to do for the least of these, so to speak. We want to do for those that are the least well-performing group, which is the African-American males and females.
Right.
Well, as soon as we do that, the very core and body of the educational structure almost comes against you for then being as if you're only coming towards or trying to only help African American students, even though everything in the educational arena tells you you should do for those that are being the least impacted by education, so that we may close the achievement gap utilizing that terminology.
Right.
And so in order to do so, it will require us to pour resources and pour time and pour focus on that particular area. But it makes you feel guilty almost to do so as an African American administrator, male or female. And
Right.
so it's something where you get into. I got into it to change the entire scope and the arena of education, thinking I would change it. And what I've come to at almost the end of my career is that the most important job for me was to change lives. And in changing lives, it's not only the lives of the children, but the parents and the teachers that I engage and impact. And, basically taking it as if it's one starfish at a time. I can't save the whole beach,
Right.
but I can take however many I can get to each day and reach those particular students. And so even if it were, to answer your original question, that our African-American males came into the arena to substitute while they were transitioning into their career or field of choice, even if it was, past the CBEST and put in 4 years, it would increase the number of African-American males that would come into the pool. And at some point you might get, bit by the bug of education and wanting to make that impact in those children's lives. But as a mainstay, I just don't necessarily see it. Now, and I'll let you get a post question, but I have another direction I want to go as part of this answer.
Okay. Well, because the reason I'm even mentioning it, I know there's a program at Cal State San Bernardino, and the goal is to increase African-American males in the classroom. That is what the program is all about. Yes. And they're helping them first get their bachelor's degree and then go on to become educators. And they're really trying to show why this is a good, field, a good career to go into. I think, truthfully, many people don't know about education. I know one educator that I know personally, and she started with me when I was doing a summer program in the district, and she is now a principal, which I'm really, really proud of, in the district, as a matter of fact. But she started as working as a clerk for the summer program. And I say that because, and one day I took her aside and all I did was talk to her about the benefits of education. It wasn't that I was trying to sell the program. It wasn't like that, and she even mentioned to me, she said, no one has ever told me this. Nobody ever told me the benefits of being a teacher. I just thought, because you always hear teachers, they don't make any money. That's all people hear. So that's all you hear. That's what you think. Then that's what you think. That's why you think, oh, well, I don't want that job if nobody's making any money in that job. And once I just literally sat down, I think I even showed her my paycheck. I went that far. This is what, it was like that.
Absolutely.
And I said, and I even told her, I'm not suggesting you become a teacher. I'm showing you what we get, that kind of thing. I'm not saying we make a ton of money or anything like that, but that one thing, and she even said many times, has said, I mentored her into her position. She has her doctorate degree. She's doing really well. I don't know if she wants me to say her name or not, because awesome. If I said her name, you know who it is. Absolutely. But I'm saying that because, and I think that is our job, to mentor, our Absolutely. Job, as to tell young people. And before I go back in, we have comment after comment. Let me make sure I bring these comments to the forefront. New Life Christian Church they've said, we love Dr. O's. The O's are a power couple. We know. Thank you. And then next we have Tony. Oh, Tony, what's the last name? Tony says, educate them, Akalana. That's what Tony is saying. And then New Life, I think you guys need to be on the show. No, New Life said, I've seen them at each one of these levels. And I believe the reason more Black men aren't going to education because they've watched how they're treated. Oh, Black men like Dr. O. That could be why. But that can go back to so many things. And one being politics. That's, there's so many things involved in that. I understand what you're saying though, Pastor. Is it Pastor Casey or is it
Yes, it is.
Is it Pastor?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Pastor Casey. I do get it. I do. And I do appreciate your comments. And we have Elaine. Elaine Wilson is saying, thanks, Danielle. You and Dr. O both operate in faith first. And that's why you are both impactful educational advocates for our youth. Thank you for both of you. And I'm going to have your wife on the show.
Absolutely.
I really will. New Life. Let's see. New Life is saying they are intimidated by what Black men and women bring to the profession, especially in arenas where they're not able to make the same impact. All these comments are very well taken. Thank you. And then Oliver, executive producer Oliver says, welcome, Michaeline, to the show. This is going to be a good one.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
So I'd love to dive back in because those comments really kind of lend themselves to part of what it was that I was going towards. And so the idea that we eventually will hit a whether you call it a glass ceiling or a wall, at some point in our careers, we'll rub an administrator or a parent or somebody the wrong way, and our entire career goes by the wayside. We're dismissed, sent back to the classroom, and then many of us will kind of stick our heels in the ground and want to fight. And from my personal experience, had I to do it over again, I don't think I would fight it the same way. I think I would have jumped ship with letters of recommendation and landed somewhere in a more positive, in a positive sense, that it didn't take so much out of me. And so the years after my incident, I had to then make sure the arenas that I went into, I didn't poison the well of those arenas. And so I had to check my own spirit and make sure that I went into the new environments complete, whole, and ready to give wholly of myself to the people that I was going into. I said all of that to say this. I think at the end of the day, we as African-American people need to establish our own communities that have our own schools, our own churches, our own businesses. And until we begin to do that once again and establish these cities and communities, we're going to continue to struggle in a system that is operating exactly as it was designed to.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. So, but what you've also said too is you've learned. You've learned. And that's what I think. And what you've learned, believe it or not, I'm hoping you're sharing with other people that have gone through situations. I've gone through my own situation in education, so I already know it is not pretty. Let me tell you that. And then I see Kim is saying 1, 2, 3, boom. That's from Kim Foster Morris. And then we have a comment, and it's from New Life. Additionally, why would young Black scholars go into a career that hasn't treated them with a level of respect or have an expectation that they're worthy? I hear you, Doctor. I hear you. I say, Pastor. I call Dr. Casey, Pastor Casey. I hear you.
He's working on his too. Dr. Casey would be apropos as well.
I agree. That's why I said. You see, I didn't even hesitate.
Absolutely not at all.
So, and then another comment is, and it is, that's rich, Dr. O. Holy so that you could be whole. Wow. I tell you. Well, this is deep, because you're really saying that people would go in if they knew that they would receive the respect, that if it was there, and they would be treated fairly or equally. All of those things you're saying are not there. But I don't think you're making a blanket statement.
No, it's not a blanket statement, because we'll still have to part and parcel continue to contribute to American society. It's not a divestment that I'm suggesting in any way, shape, or form, right. But it is a ancillary or a secondary system. When we think of the Chinese, they have Chinatown, they have Koreatown, Little Vietnam, Little Saigon, Little Italy. We have Westwood, just different communities that support them. At what point do we as African-American people get to have a place that we call ours, that is a community that has these, I would say, 9 elements? We control the businesses in that community. We control the politics, mayors, council people. We control the justice, which is the police and judges. We control the media and education, and have these 4 institutions built into it: a bank, a school, a hospital, and a grocery store.
Mm.
From
You
coast
know,
to coast,
I'm not
I can't
mistaken.
think of one community that has all of those elements established in it that is run for us and by us. And then they go to many of the most disjointed or undermined, is a better way to even state it today, cities that have been undermined, such as a Detroit or a Chicago, where they immediately want to point the mirror at, oh, look at what you guys don't know how to do. Look at this, look at this. But if they've given us accountability and responsibility, but not yet the authority to control and direct for ourselves. We're going to mess up, but we'll get it right at some point. Let us be, let's do it.
The only place I could think what you're saying, the closest one to me would be Atlanta. Atlanta would be, that's my opinion. I mean, we have children that have moved there. That's what they felt, that they felt more welcome. And that's sad. They were born and raised, in California, and they didn't feel they just felt like they had a better opportunity. And that's hard to be born and raised in a state and say, I feel like I have a better opportunity in another state. Mm-hmm. But that's just, but I'll be honest, they didn't go into the educational arena. They're owning their own business. That's another thing that I have found a lot of people are doing. They are owning their own business. It doesn't matter where they are in the world, because many of us work from home, and that would be yours truly also, where you work from home. So it's other than probably Africa, it would be the other place, I think, with what you're saying. And even then, to my knowledge, other countries have come in and they are, taking parts in peaceful.
Absolutely. We don't even get to produce our own chocolate for us. They'll buy our chocolate, take it out, and then send it back to us and call it Belgian chocolate.
Wow.
Something as simple as that.
Oh, yeah.
We don't even get to produce our own vaccines in our own country, where we're able to do so and vaccinate our own people, so to speak, if we're talking Africa.
Right.
Yeah. So I think what the big fear is that one day within our own communities that we'd be able to, control the businesses. We'd be able to control the politics and justice. That includes the police. That would pretty much eradicate police brutality. That would pretty much, make sure that justice was served in the courtrooms because the people came from the community. Right. You would also have media that supported the underlayers of business, politics, justice. The media supported it. The education would support it. And then you'd have healthcare that was taken care of by us, for us, banks, food in the form of grocery stores, and then maybe a Saturday school where things, would culturally could be taught. And then you would wrap that all back once again at the foundation of values, back with the church as the heart of that entire community structure.
Right. Well, it without a doubt, like you said, that when you mentioned those 9 elements, that church would be is significant to the African American community. The church is the heart of the African American community. And that's another whole topic, because we're going to get on religion, but but I would just say, and I did want to say, Danielle, she said, persisted to be whole as you serve. Yes. I just want to make sure I get the comment in there. Yes, but just know, I'm listening to you. I'm just, I'll be the first one to admit, I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer. And you're saying for some communities, because I know Harlem was a place where it was predominantly African American. It's no longer, but it was at one time. Brooklyn was pretty much mixed, but Harlem was, it was almost like Harlem was the place you could go, and it was predominantly African American. No longer.
But even with the idea that desegregation really destroyed the institutional fabric of African American community by way of, we had everything that we're now trying to get again. We actually had. We had liquor stores, we had cleaners, we had cab companies, we had bus companies, we had basketball, we had football, not football, but baseball. We had sports teams. We had everything that you could imagine. And so the way it works now is if we ever get to a particular place, immediately we'll sell. And so we'll never, ever really get back to that thing, because the way capitalism works is, of course, people want to be rich. But at some point, we're going to have to take and make the sacrifice. We're going to have to start schools that are for us and by us. We're going to have to start banks and hospitals. Everything that I've talked about has to be for us, and it can't be sold. We cannot be bought out. We have to put the Black agenda first and hold on to it, even when it comes to politics and coming up to our next presidential election and all interim elections. That we're going to have to be able to put our priorities as number one. This is not to diminish the priorities of any other group. It is not to act as if any other group does not exist. However, at some point, we have to be able to speak for us in order for us to be able to move forward from the place we currently stand, so that we can make the impact in education and in the world that we've been called to make.
Then okay, but how do we get there? Because it's easy now, as I don't have to tell you, it's easier said than done.
One of the things I would do, I was talking about it this weekend. I would actually, as a race of people, divest in the idea of just voting Democratic or just voting Republican. Come out of it, form a party in which those two groups would now have to actually come and speak to you, as opposed to this idea of vote blue no matter who. And what has that gotten us, historically over the years? We've got almost 50 years since 71 of the Black Congressional Caucus, and I still have yet to see one law on the books that have actually been solely for the benefit of African American people. And so if we were to create a political party and we had either the Republican or the Democratic Party come to us and ask us our agenda, and then they don't give it to us, at least we'd now know where we stand, and we'd have some decisions to make at that point. But as the saying goes, those who fail to plan to fail. We must have a plan, and we must stick to it, and know that myself, yourself, and the people of our age group will not see it come to fruition, but we must plant the seed and begin the watering and growth in our next generation. And that's why I've always loved education.
All right. Well, I can tell you, you said about plant the seed. Before Barack Obama was elected, I can't tell you why, but I had a conversation with my father, and I said, Dad, do you ever think we'll see a Black president? And he just took a deep breath and he said, I will not live to see it. Unfortunately, he did not live to see it. And he said, you will not live to see it. And my grandchildren will not live to see it. Now, believe it or not, it was 10 years from that time when we had a Black president. So it wasn't even, it was a decade later. But I'm saying that to say things happen faster than what we realize.
So I have to beg the question, was anything done for us, once again, solely for us in that time period? We had 8 years of them. And many would challenge and question, and I know people are hissing in the background and throwing rocks and throwing stuff at the screen. But the question is what changed for us? What substantively changed for us? What was the benefit of it? What did we gain from it other than the notoriety? The first Black. We've got first Blacks throughout history that have done for us that has not changed or leveled us up in any real or significant way. It has not changed our lot in lives.
I honestly, now that I would say I would just go by my grandchildren. To hear one of my grandchildren say that was the only president they knew at that time. And they would tell me, and when I would just ask them I said, so who's the president? Just to hear them say it. And they said, and one of the grandkids actually said this, and they said, Nana, I can be president because Barack Obama's president. That was such a shift, because I remember teaching this. I had the presidents up on the wall in my history class, and one of my students said, do you have to be white and a man to be president? That was at that time, that was the reality. And to hear a student, this is the truth. I actually took all the presidents down that day. I took them all down because I was showing them a picture. This is this is years before Barack Obama was ever president, but it wasn't a good one. So this is the requirement. They were neither white and they were male, but they were neither white. They were Latino. So here's a Latino saying, I'm not this. I'm not white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant. I'm not that. So that means I can never be president. And so that was in my opinion, it was a bad view to them. So now, even though I would say, and I understand what you're saying, there was no reparations wasn't passed or anything like that during his presidency or anything. I definitely would agree with that. But I do believe that seed was planted in our children and our grandchildren, that if this, whatever it is you want to do, remember Barack Obama wrote that in the 3rd grade, that he wanted to be president of the United States in the 3rd grade. So whatever it is you want to do, there are no limits anymore to it. The only limit is what you set on yourself. And that's the one thing I think that's happened from his presidency. Other than that, I would say just to be in that position is affected our children, our grandchildren. It's affected the world. Let's just be honest. The world celebrated with us when he became president. It was like, I don't want to say, but anyway, the world celebrated with the United States of finally, you guys get it. It's about the person and not about their skin color. Now, I would venture to say that didn't answer all there is to answer, but still, we have some other comments before we go on. Absolutely. And this was a very good very interesting. Carrington Motley says, this truly is the type of conversations needed to be had. Unification with equality, praying for actions in the immediate future. Thank you, Carrington. I appreciate your input. And I'm going to stop really quickly right here and do a recap on all the comments that have come. Now, some people, I don't know what VOH.FYI means. You know what that means?
No.
I've seen 3 people write it, and I see VUM.NGO. Honestly, you need to show me more, but I don't know what that is. That's why
I can't see it on the screen. I can see some of them as they're posting at the bottom. Maybe if I could read it.
Okay. It looks like going to a website, but I don't know what that is. And I don't want to advertise something when I don't know what it is. It's VUM.ONG, and I don't know what that means. So that's why I haven't posted it, just so you know. It's not that I don't want to. I just don't know what it is. Because whatever I put up there is up there forever. It'll be up there. So that's my hesitation. But I'm going to go back and do another roll call. Thank you for your comments, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot tell you how much we appreciate them. Because I'm going to tell you, Dr. O, just listening to him is just giving me so much food for thought as to some things that we want to make, that we can make changes to. All of us have a sphere of influence. Everybody here has a sphere of influence. You may say, well, I'm not in a classroom. Doesn't matter. You have family members, you have workers, co-workers, family, friends. That is a sphere of influence. And all of us affect other people's lives. Never think that you can't make a change, because you can. So Charles, again, thank you. Danielle, I can't thank you enough. And I'm going to have you on the show, Danielle, just so you know. Sheila, thank you. I'm always glad to see you. Oliver, executive producer, thank you. Thank you. Lori, Jose, the Motley Method. I like that, the Motley Method. Vandy, Kim Foster Morris, Elaine Wilson, New Life Christian Church of Fontana, Danielle again, Thomas Ward, as we go on down, Tony Moulton, and
Tony Mouton.
And it must be, he's a frat brother?
No, he's my godfather from Louisiana.
Okay.
Lafayette.
Dr. Shelley Dansby Saucier, she's on, and we're going down the list. Now, some of these, like I said before, I don't know who they are. And Carrington Motley, Dr. Dansby says, Dr. O, let me go ahead and put it on the screen. I'm reading it and then put it up. Okay. And she says, Dr. O, to your point, we must be intentional when supporting our youth and sometimes move in silence.
Understood.
Woo! Tell it, Dr. Dansby Saucier. She's right. Sometimes the things that we're doing, we don't need to advertise it. It doesn't need to be advertised to everyone, but we're doing it and it's affecting the community. All of those things affect the community. I know too. Now you any projects or any things that you're working on that you like to share with our audience?
Absolutely. I want to go back and grab something real quick. You had
Okay.
mentioned earlier about education. I think one of the things that would be beneficial in the educational arena would be for districts to begin to hire maybe specific ethnic administrators that could mentor and be able to support maybe from a administrative professional development level, those new administrators that are coming or new teachers that want to come in as they become admin designees, as they become first year assistant principals and first year principals, for those of us like myself that have been in the arena for some period of time, maybe creating a division within districts that would allow for those experienced veteran administrators and teachers to come in and mentor the next generation. I think that's a layer that is missing in most of the districts that I've reviewed, San Bernardino County and Riverside County combined. I have not seen that, although there are places that have them individually, but not structurally in as an institution within those districts. So I think that would be something that may help to be able to recruit and retain some level of African American males and females within the district, or whatever ethnicity, as I said, multiple ethnicities, to be able to support their particular group. Or after they're in there and they hear, oh, this person works good, we don't care who we work with. We'll work with whoever, but at least you have somebody that looks like you there that you can reach out to initially.
And I think I've heard that is, but I don't know, as you're saying, it's not a structure that is set. I've heard, maybe it was at the county level. That's what I've heard. I don't know, but I have heard of it. And what you're saying, really, you need someone that's a Latina or is it Latinx background, so that their administrators feel supported. Someone that's African American, so their administrators feel supported. That in every level that we said, because what it really means, they need somebody they can talk to, because they feel probably like you're on an island, like you're alone. And if you don't have that support, where do you go? Who do you talk to? Who do you run things by about what's going on politically? Because let's just face it, those jobs are very political when you're in those administrative positions.
And then you get into an area where you don't necessarily even trust the people you work with, and there's just a number of so many layers of things that you don't speak up because fear of either incompetence, or you're giving them the reason that you need not be in that position. And so if you don't have somebody that's truly there to support you and to show you the ropes, they will not expose their inadequacies.
Yeah, it makes a difference, because now, from my knowledge, in corporate America, they do have that. They do have more mentoring type programs, because if you're looking to advance, which I say corporate America, education is corporate America too. But I mean, when you're working at corporations as opposed to education, how will that go? How do we structure that? How do we get that, ingrained in this system?
Part of it will be definitely making sure, as we talked about earlier, making sure the parents are requesting that. And then our board members have to begin to advocate for those things in the various communities in which we are functioning and operating. And it's almost like you don't even need to wait for somebody to come tell you. Board members, this is what we need. Let's make it happen. So it's not, once again, you're waiting for the wheel to squeak in order to respond. Why don't we plan to begin that recruitment? Why don't we plan to the retention? Why don't we plan the mentoring? Why don't we plan the leadership? Why don't we plan how to develop and nurture African Americans within the various school districts, as opposed to when we come towards the end of our career, they attack our competence and our character. And then as the saying goes, you hear the proverbial toilet flush, and then you pretty much are kind of just undone with the idea, okay, they're getting ready to stick me at the district office. What's my next move? Do I sue? And we're back in that whole cycle again. But at least if someone was there that had our back, that was going to support us, this would be something to do. So board members, parents, teachers from within the district, we have to begin to speak up about the ideas.
Okay, we have Danielle says, your lovely wife. She said, yes, mentoring with intentionality to support our leaders and continue this work. You know, because this, from what I know, I think that's done in the religious arena, that they have, when you're in that arena, there are mentors. There are people that have walked the walk before you and gone before you, that kind of thing. In education, not so much. Not so much. So I definitely think there's a need. And that may be something, I don't know, does it have to, it would have to go at the district level, the county level, the state level?
Definitely within the county. So if you want, we're going to make the county would send the mandate out, which would make all the districts that were under it have to comply with it. And so it'd have to start there.
Okay.
And so it would be easiest to start there. And as the state began to see benefits of it, maybe test scores might improve, and then those different things will follow suit.
Well, the number one answer that I've heard all the time I'm in education, where's the money coming from? That's what I hear, that it would always be, it come back to that. It was never, it wasn't that they wouldn't do it. It was always, where's the money? Who's going to pay for it?
Well, once again, if we're talking about finances, and we're saying that the statistical data that we produce for our African American students is saying that that's where the need is, then the percentage of need would dictate where the money is coming from. As we use our local, locally controlled funding formulas, we would earmark it and designate it for just those specific needs. And so it's there, but if we don't speak up and draw attention to it, put the magnifying glass on it, it will continue to fly under the radar. So
in other words, the money is already there. It's not like
there's
there.
It's already there. And so at some point we have to, you can only move $100 a certain number of ways, but you have to take whatever percentage you're talking about to move the needle for these particular group of students, these particular group of kids, this particular community. Then you earmark it, and as things change, you change the allocation and the allotment respectively to match the data.
Got it. Well, I can tell you, this is, I'm just listening to you. This is something that sounds like it should have already happened, really.
Absolutely.
Let's just be honest. And then I see Danielle says, it's sad that corporations making products do better in this area than education. Education is, that is nurturing and for humanity. Oh, Danielle, you don't have to go there. We already know that. We're dealing with people's lives.
Yes.
This is, but corporations, like you said, we talk about products. And Elaine says, let me put this. She says, you are speaking truth. Getting knocked down by the system happened. We much persist through these challenges. Be intentional in our politics. Become knowledgeable and get involved. And Elaine, which I've been trying to get her on the show, because she is committed herself to scholarships for kids. That is her area. And in fact, I think she's emailing out some scholarships. I'll attach them to the email and send them all out for you, Elaine. Just send me the scholarships and they'll go out. But I'm saying all this because all of us have different arenas that we are working toward, different, how are we educating the community? Now, I'm no longer in a classroom, but I educate through emails. I email things out to people. That's my education. And that's how I do my part. So what you're saying as far as the mentoring for the administrators, I just think that that's something that I'm thinking should have happened a long time ago. So how do we I'm thinking the county to say to the school, since the county is the parent for the school districts, to get them to buy in, because that's where the buy-in has to come from, that county office.
Absolutely. You can also use like a National Association of Black Educators. You could use local Black chapters of different union groups, and get those to begin to agendize those topics for discussion with the superintendents, even within districts. Even if you don't make it to the county level, you could start locally. And, so I'm sure some superintendents would love to be the innovator and the spearhead to launch something like that in their district, to say that they were the first to do it. So, let's be the first at being the first.
That's, you know what it is though. Somebody has to start it. Let's just be honest. Someone has to start it. Now, who is that someone is the question. To be the, like you said, the innovator. Who wants to be the one? And many times, what I have found, it's hard to do that. It's hard to start systems or start a new because people are hesitant. Is it going to work? This is what I've learned. When you start something new, the best thing to do is call it a beta. Just call it a beta. Because if you call it a beta, now we're trying this out without feeling the full level of commitment, but now we're trying to see if this works or not. And we can just see, how is this affecting the kids? How is it affecting our schools? Those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see anything negative out of having a mentorship program for the administrators.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see any negative in there.
No, not at all. And then, as you mentioned the beta, one of the things that came to mind was just this idea of making sure that we institutionalize the ideas around what it is. Because I doubt that we've so far moved beyond this idea of having one singular leader that we now have to institutionalize the ideas of progress and what it means to put us first on our own agendas and not be apologetic about it. And so we have to make sure that all of us understand the ideas behind what it is we're talking about, and all of us. So it's not an idea of cut off the head, kill the snake, but as if that person was to be removed, the movement continues. We mobilize, we strategize, and we begin to move. And so that's why, to some extent, the major broad ideas have to be publicized and known. And then what happens behind the scenes can be done in silence.
I see. Well, I know too. I'm listening to you, and I know that we're running out of time because I'm just like, But do you have any final words that you want to share?
I have a million final words. We can go for another 20 minutes, but I'll keep it short.
And I would love
one would definitely be the book that I had mentioned that I'm working on, Sozo Life. And that book is really the journey of healing and wholeness through the valley of forgiveness. And what I found in my marriage counseling and in my ministry is that many people that want to be married enter into that institution broken. And so you take two broken people who don't know the pitfalls and know the landmines that they're going to step on in their mate. And so what this book intends to do is begin to heal and go back and find the place where Akinlana was dropped, or where his mother, said that, she almost aborted him at 5 months, or the fact that he almost drowned in her belly at 7 months, or the fact that he was born with spinal meningitis, and the fact that, he, just a number of things that he, detoxed his sister, just a number of things. Did those things impact me? And what impact did it have? And did a piece of me get left and broken in those places? And do I now have to go back and fix them, forgive those people that have done these things, and bring myself once again to a whole place so that I can once again be holy with God and now my significant other, my spouse.
Right.
So that's one. And then the other one, I just wanted to take the time to thank my Bishop Jelani Faraji Kafela of Imani Christian Cathedral. He's an amazing mentor leader. And he has just been a pillar in my life. And as we watch, as we get into this next generation, as I heard recently, pillars are not going to be very easy to replace or find within our community. And so it becomes more pervasive for us to have to spread the ideas of what it is that we are shooting for, so that our children know what to continue to fight for. I have a few quotes I want to leave us with. Those who control the present prepared for it in the past. Let's prepare today to control our future. Eleanor Roosevelt said, small minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, and great minds talk about ideas. Let's continue to talk about those ideas and begin to push the critical things on our agenda. We have to be able to read, write, and talk about math and ownership and investing and real estate and starting business and creating jobs. Kill the negativity in our communities, and eventually, if you don't kill the negativity in the community, it will eventually kill you. We have to learn how to critically think and apply. And I wrap all of that in my last statement in the idea of compassion. What motivates people to go out of their way to help the physical, mental, and emotional pains of another will eventually come back and bless them as well. Thank you so much for your time. It has been amazing being with you, and thank you so much for all of those that were able to get on and participate. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. O. Thank you for taking time out to be with us today. We really do appreciate you. So the audience, we're going to let Dr. O go on. Thank you. Thank you. Audience, that is our show for today. Oh, wasn't that wonderful? And the energy, the edge, I mean, just so much, so much, so much. So we're down to like 6 seconds. I'll see you guys next Monday. God bless each and every one of you. Hi, Dr. Tompkins. Nice to see you. And Danielle, did I get your comment in real quick? She said, bless you, Mary, and greetings from Bishop and Lady Khalifa and our Imani Christian Cathedral family. God bless each and every one of you. Take care. Bye-bye.